When running an overhead feeder to a detached garage from the main panel and setting a 240/120 volt subpanel at the garage, the overhead feeder must indeed consist of two-phase conductors, a grounded neutral conductor, and a grounding conductor. Regarding the question of whether the messenger wire can be used as a grounding conductor, the answer is yes, it is possible, but it is conditional on meeting specific requirements to ensure safety and compliance with electrical codes. The messenger wire, which provides support for the overhead feeder, can potentially serve a dual purpose as the grounding conductor, but only if it satisfies several critical conditions. These conditions primarily relate to the material of the messenger wire, its size, and how it is supported and insulated. Firstly, the material of the messenger wire is paramount. It must be made of a conductive material that is suitable for carrying fault currents. Common materials that meet this requirement include copper-clad steel and aluminum. Steel alone is generally not suitable due to its higher resistance compared to copper or aluminum, which would impede its ability to effectively carry fault currents back to the source. Copper-clad steel provides a good balance of strength and conductivity, while aluminum offers a lightweight and conductive alternative. The choice of material will influence the required size of the messenger wire to ensure it can handle the potential fault current. Secondly, the size of the messenger wire is a critical factor in its ability to function as a grounding conductor. It must be of sufficient size to safely carry the maximum potential fault current that could occur in the circuit. The minimum acceptable size for the messenger wire is typically number 8 American wire gauge copper or number 6 American wire gauge aluminum. These sizes are generally considered adequate for handling common fault currents in residential applications, but it is essential to perform a fault current calculation to verify that the chosen size is appropriate for the specific installation. The fault current calculation takes into account the available fault current from the utility, the impedance of the service conductors, and the impedance of the feeder conductors to the detached garage. The goal is to ensure that the messenger wire can safely carry the fault current long enough for the overcurrent protective device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, to trip and clear the fault. If the calculated fault current exceeds the ampacity of the number 8 American wire gauge copper or number 6 American wire gauge aluminum messenger wire, a larger size will be required. In addition to the material and size requirements, it is crucial that the messenger wire is securely supported and properly insulated from the phase conductors. The support structure must be strong enough to withstand the weight of the conductors and any additional stress from wind or ice. The messenger wire should be attached to the support structure using insulators that are designed for this purpose. These insulators prevent the messenger wire from coming into direct contact with the support structure, which could create a ground fault. Furthermore, the messenger wire must be kept physically separated from the phase conductors to prevent any accidental contact. This can be achieved by using spacers or other means of separation to maintain a safe distance between the conductors. It is also essential to ensure that the insulation on the phase conductors is in good condition to prevent any leakage current from flowing to the messenger wire. Proper grounding and bonding are also essential for ensuring the safety and effectiveness of the grounding system. The messenger wire must be properly bonded to the grounding electrode system at both the main panel and the detached garage. This creates a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to ensure that the overcurrent protective device will trip quickly in the event of a fault. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, a ground ring, or a metal water pipe that is in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. The messenger wire should be connected to the grounding electrode system using a grounding electrode conductor that is sized according to the requirements of the electrical code. It is also important to bond any metal enclosures or other conductive parts of the electrical system to the grounding system to prevent them from becoming energized in the event of a fault. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides comprehensive guidelines for grounding and bonding electrical systems. It is essential to follow these guidelines carefully to ensure that the grounding system is installed correctly and that it will provide adequate protection against electrical shock and fire hazards. In addition to the NEC, local electrical codes may have additional requirements for grounding and bonding. It is important to consult with your local electrical inspector to determine the specific requirements that apply to your installation. In summary, the messenger wire can be used as the grounding conductor for an overhead feeder to a detached garage, provided that it meets the following requirements. Firstly, it must be made of a conductive material such as copper-clad steel or aluminum. Secondly, it must be of sufficient size to carry the fault current, typically number 8 American wire gauge copper or number 6 American wire gauge aluminum, but a fault current calculation is recommended to verify the appropriate size. And thirdly, it must be securely supported and insulated from the phase conductors. It is also important to ensure that the messenger wire is properly bonded to the grounding electrode system at both the main panel and the detached garage. Finally, it is always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector to ensure that the installation meets all applicable electrical codes and safety standards. This is especially important when dealing with electrical systems, as improper installation can create a significant risk of electrical shock or fire. By following these guidelines, you can safely and effectively use the messenger wire as the grounding conductor for your overhead feeder to your detached garage.